Well, welcome everybody to BFD Advisors. Obviously, these are the B, F, and the D. There's the Grohl and the Fuller and the Duncan. It's a big freaking deal that we're here. We're going to talk about, this particular podcast is going to be about the future of accounting. Now again, the future of accounting.
I say episode 2.
Oh, episode 2. I thought that was like a weird quote.
A tutu. That's what we'll put him in next.
There was one in the next room.
Oh,
we should go grab
Oh my
that.
gosh,
The
yes.
eerie
Okay.
room.
All right. We got costumes later.
Shackles
apparently.
and tutus. We're
Shackles
good.
and tutus, you're all set. And if you don't know what we're talking about, sorry, you didn't watch the
Shiz
first
is getting
episode.
weird.
Yeah, it's already started. So we are going to talk about business. We're going to talk about specific industries. We're going to talk about taxes. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. This particular episode, we wanted to start touching on the future of accounting. Our industry is massively changing. And this is stuff that I've taught hour-long sessions on, I've had a lot of insight into, and I talk to people constantly about where it's going. At a very, very high level, the industry is shifting for multiple reasons. First and foremost, technology is coming in and changing everything. Now, when technology comes in, there's a lot of good things and a lot of bad things that come with that. AI is legitimately replacing the core accounting role. We see it in QuickBooks. QuickBooks is getting downloads of bank accounts. How often did we used to just sit there and type stuff in? That's AI, believe it or not.
Yeah.
It's recognizing categorization. So we see it happening in QuickBooks. The same thing is happening in tax prep. The same thing is happening in the audit space. So in tax prep, I was talking with a C-level executive of a major company who we won't talk to about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And he pulled me aside. He goes, Sean, do you realize we're about 3 to 5 years away from fully automating tax prep? Think of what that means for an industry. The AI is getting there so close that we may not need to prepare returns. Now, I don't want to get in the arguments about we still have to review it and those K1s are a mess and all the stuff that we have to talk about. The human will always be involved, but huge portions of what we used to charge for is absolutely going away. So when you have this influx of all this technology, you have fewer needs for CPAs. The stuff that we traditionally always did is going away. So then you take that and you have all these accountants that are out there that this is all they know. They don't do advice, they don't do fraud examination, they don't do operational accounting, they don't really do more than the stuff that we were traditionally taught to do. They're getting fed up. So we're actually starting to see a massive retirement wave coming from the CPAs. In fact, there's a stat, give or take, around 75% of the CPAs in practice today are 65 or older. If you're 65 years old and you've run a traditional accounting firm and I come in and say, hey, by the way, 2018, we changed the tax laws bigger than we've ever changed them since 1985. Got to learn that. Oh, by the way, we had this 2-year nonstop tax season because that COVID thing, and we're going to go ahead and do these weird PPP rules that we're not going to tell you how they work. But go ahead and learn them.
But here's all the money, and we may be taking some of that back from you later, but we don't know. We'll let you know after we give you the money and after you filed your returns. We'll go ahead and change those rules up.
And we're not going to tell you how to track it.
Oh,
So
God, no.
you just make that up on your own and charge your clients, and then after the fact find out you didn't need to do any of that. So
Or
that's
you did
fine.
it completely wrong.
Yes.
And you may go to jail if you did it really, really wrong, because we're not sure either, right?
And by the way, give
Yeah.
us our money back.
And then you throw in this technology. Wait, I got to learn a whole bunch of stinking apps. Look, I would be peace out as well. I'm like,
So
enough.
yesterday, Sean, you actually made a statement about that in a room, and a lady came up to. We were sitting in the lobby afterwards, and a lady came up to him and said, "Were you in the session? Did you do this?" And he goes, "Yeah, that was me." And she says, "I am one of the people you're talking about." She referred to herself as a relic, and I was looking at Sean like, "Sean, don't call old people relics. That's messed up."
Yeah.
But he didn't. He didn't.
I did
do
not
it.
call her a relic.
She told
Nor
her
did he say she was going blind, like you said.
that was
to
a
the
dog. Anyhow,
She offended her. Totally different story. So
different time.
Yeah.
But that lady came up and was like, I am one of those people. I'm retiring, and half of my team's coming with me because I'm not doing that. I don't care.
So think about it. She's like, yeah, I'm giving up because this is a mess. So our industry has this weird thing going on where we're about to lose a lot of the work and the revenue, 50% of our revenue, I guess, in a lot of public accounting space. And by the way, corporate accounting is not immune to this because that's automation that won't need the headcount. So we have all this, oh my gosh, my job's at risk. But then on the flip side of that, there's mass retirements. And then on the other side of it, there's not that many students coming in and learning this stuff, you know? I mean, seriously, if you're on the playground and you're 12 years old, and this kid says, I want to be an astronaut, and the other one goes, I want to be a cowboy, and this one says, I want to be a CPA, those two beat him up.
Yeah, he did
All
too.
right? Look,
Sean, you had a lot of wedgies as a kid, didn't you? You
Actually,
were totally that kid.
Thank God I was a dumb meathead when I was a
He's
kid.
got his fake lightsaber. He goes, I'm going to do people's taxes and get
I
on
will
it.
reconcile. Everybody wants to reconcile. Look how it balances.
I was like, I'm going to be a lawyer and defend the people that beat you up. I'm going to be like, they were rightfully in their place.
So in this whole flow, right? So everything, it was hilarious. I was laughing on the inside. You probably were too. So the whole thing is, everything is shifting, right? We have this technology push that's going to replace and take away the work that we did. We don't have a lot of new accountants coming in. Lots of accountants are going out. There's still the demand. The net of that is the public still needs our support, but they're going to need it in a different way. And this is when you hear, and I know you're fed up, I know it, advisory. What is advisory? What is this CAS and CAS 2.0 junk? Don't worry about it. The AICPA is making up crap and calling it CAS 2.0.
Oh my God!
CAS,
don't
right?
say that. Don't say AICPA and crap together.
Okay, so
They can be watched.
AICPA.
I don't think AICPA.
I'm not
does
supporting that.
crap.
I'm not. What do you call it?
AICPA is coining a term that apparently we have all taken
But we
on.
need to call it 2.0 because that was
What do
really
the
confusing.
politicians say when they do their commercial? And I support this message.
Yeah.
I do not support that message. Okay, anyway,
We
go ahead,
love
Sean.
you, AICPA. You just need a better acronym.
Guess Wade's speaking at AICPA.
Don't repeat with purpose. All right. So anywho, if you're not bringing value to your client and you're not doing something to help them move forward, what are you going to be doing? Because right, if you're just doing the tax prep, or you're just doing the books, or you just sit in a corporate office and you're punching the clock, that job is getting replaced.
Yeah.
And if you're not skilling up in some way, and the beauty of advisory, and you're gonna get a lot of that in what we talk about. Dawn is amazing at fraud examination and helping people with that. That's advisory. It's not just a task, oh, by the way, she got a certification and she does this work. She advises them on the proper way to protect against it, to do it right, to avoid the problem and clean up the problem. That's advice. She's taking her unique special gift and bringing that forward into giving advice. And every single one of you guys has a gift or a knowledge. You may know how to reconcile the hell out of something. But, and that was the beep, right? Did we get a beep? I think we got a duck or something.
Yeah,
we'll find
get a
out.
little
Yeah,
something.
hell. There we go. Just want to make sure you heard it that time. So
Is hell, but is hell a beepable word?
I don't know.
Okay.
Oh!
Was that our first F-bomb
was
came
the
from
first one.
Sean?
Big freaking deal. All right. So anywho, the whole point of that is the industry is shifting, and it's shifting because we don't have the same amount of manpower. Technology's coming in, but technology's not here yet. It's not quite here. We are short of staff. We're short of talent. We're short of skill. So the people that are here are working harder to try to keep up with this massive demand, but yet we don't have a solution until the tech gets here. And so that's feeding a lot of anxiety. It's creating a lot of questions on what are we doing to make the right career choices. And that's the point, honestly. This is the pitch. On my side of things, the Chief Proactive Advisor Program is to teach you how to get to the thing that you're supposed to be doing inside of this knowledge and skill base that you have. And we've all found our passions on what we want to do using these talents that we have. But the industry has made a massive shift. And so that's where I see the landscape going on my side, because I spend a lot of time looking at this.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah, Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Okay,
Can I add to that though? So I want to say, while you touched a lot on the accounting industry, I want to and the tax side, we are automated everything. Does anybody hire an accounts payable person anymore? We don't need to. Does anybody hire an AR person anymore? You don't need to. Almost all of those, I don't want to say lower level because they're so important, but the data entry jobs, and let's go a step further than that. How many of us go to the grocery store and have 3 items and go to the self-checkout because I don't want to have to go here and converse and deal with that? So much is being automated that people need to think to myself, can a robot do my job? And the only thing a robot can't do yet, although I'm watching the movies Will Smith makes because I'm telling you,
I don't watch them.
He's ahead of things, is that advisory. So regardless what industry you're in, you need to find a way to connect with people. That human emotion and human connection and a human experience is what is going to keep us employed and keep us thriving and
fulfilled.
Well,
that's the thing, is
fulfillment
enjoy
is,
more. Yeah, who cares if fulfilled?
I'm just saying in general, you just want a paycheck. If a computer can come in and it's got technology and AI and it can read things, then it's gonna, even a lot of our advisory is gonna be given to us, but there's still gonna be this whole human emotion aspect. I just totally feel like I hopped a loogie.
She hopped a little bit of loogie.
It's
I almost backed up. I was
It
like,
was sitting
whoa.
there. Gross. That was the first loogie of BFD.
Oh, BFD.
F-bomb and loogie. But yeah, so that's another thing, right? Is there's just this huge, everything's being automated. We are all going to be unemployed and working out in the mines. We've seen it in the movies, you guys. The movies don't lie. Hollywood is telling us the truth. Dawn, you've got stuff to say. I just need to, need to take a moment and swallow my loogie.
We're going to move over to the non-weird side of the table, which is right here.
But my tin.
But Well, and so my thought process behind it is, regardless of what the visions are and what those things are, there is a time right now where people need to shift their mindset either way. So it's not, if you don't believe that you're going to be in the mines and whatever that, I'll be dead, and I'm fine with that. Like, I'm so cool with that. But I look at it that for practitioners, and we'll talk to them for a hot second, as a practitioner, as an accounting professional, it is time to shift your mindset in some way. Now, your journey, you may be at the, I have accounts payable people, I have accounts receivable people, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what I'd be concerned about is, are you paying attention to the fact that that is shifting and the way that job is being done is changing? And so as a practitioner, or whatever part of your journey is, you either just started a company in 2022, you started a company in 2019, whatever it may be, or you're going to start one next year, or you're shifting and you don't want to work corporate anymore, you want to go on your own. Whatever that may be, my encouragement is to open your mind to what could be for you, look at what has been for you, and where do you want to be. And so I think that mindset and mind shifting is really important in this process. And so that's where I feel like I come in to say, you know, I love all of our journeys are different, but they're the same in a way that we discovered we didn't want to do this. Okay, we shifted and said, oh, I want to go this way. Oh, wait a minute, I want to go that way. But always shifting for the time that I'll say, what is it, like the decade we were in, or whatever the journey of the accounting industry was, we were kind of following that river.
Well, if you're feeling like you're being pulled along and you have no choice, right? How many practitioners feel like they're hopeless? Like, this is just the way it is. Or they're the martyr. This is just the industry. This is the way it's always been. Now think about the young practitioner who doesn't want to live that life. For whatever we disparage the millennial, they're really understand that they want their life and their work to have some synergy and not just be slave labor. And that's what you're taking. You have this chance in this journey to make the choice on which direction you steer the boat.
Absolutely.
Well, and you know, it's interesting. I had an email, so it was really funny. I was driving to ADP, and I passed the exit for an elderly practitioner. If that's fair. I'm not going to mention who it is.
Not a relic.
Nope, not a relic, but
There's no relics.
He's an elderly CPA, certified fraud examiner, CFA. He's got every letter behind his name, and also one of the most genuine, sweet human. Like, I want to call him Grandpa. Because he just feels like a grandpa. I just want to squeeze him.
Oh.
But I've been doing some work with him. He outsources some work. He referred a bunch of tax to me back in, I think it was 2017, things like that. And I said, I wonder how he's doing. I wonder what he's up to. And no joke, I got to my hotel, and that night he emailed me.
Oh my God! See,
it was a thing.
It's
right?
the robot.
It's the robot. So he emailed me, and here's the thing: as an elderly practitioner, he has a house in Connecticut and a house in Florida. He goes back and forth, and every year when he's like preparing to go to Florida, he's like, Brolin, I got to get my technology in place, and so we touch base, and I'm like, that's cute.
But does he though?
So he said to me, here we go
Does he still
again.
have like a Yellow Pages book, and he's really sad they don't deliver it anymore?
Probably. And so he was like, okay, I'm ready to get off, and I can't even remember the name of the network system he's on, but whatever it was, I knew it was from before I was born.
It's like, what are some of those old
DOS
ones?
prompts.
Or I was gonna say, what were some of the things, like, it wasn't even, oh God, I'm trying to think of like our internet, instead of Internet Explorer, it was like all, what was the other ones we had? Like at the beginning, we didn't have Google, we had like Ask Jeeves, sorry.
Yeah, it was, I mean, it's just, this is archaic stuff. So anyway, even though it's taken him some time, I would say 3 or 4 or 5 years to realize he needs to do something different, he's gonna do something different. And you can just see, I love to see people who are accepting and buying in to the fact that this is where we need to be. And I was on a podcast yesterday and I said, we always used to talk about the cloud, and we don't talk about that anymore because if you're not like already doing the cloud, I don't even know. I know you probably have a joke for that. We're not doing the cloud. That's not a thing.
I honestly didn't even into that, but I love that you thought I did.
Yeah. So we know where my point is that shifting that mindset and knowing that there's these.
So follow-up question on that. Do you think they're doing it because they want to, or because whatever they're doing now is obsolete and they have no choice? Are people being forced into this new way of of technology and doing things, or are they trying to keep up with the Joneses and competition?
I think he's looking for the convenience. I think he sees how difficult it is for him to have a server in his home in Connecticut and to VPN in, and if it needs to be rebooted, no one's there to do it, or whatever that is. I think he's at a point where he's like, the technology I'm using is not, even for like I said, an elderly practitioner who's like, listen, I don't need to run, I don't have to be a sprinter, but I also don't want to walk, take 4 days to walk a mile. So I think he's seeing that the technology isn't going to keep up with it. What he's using, it doesn't care anymore.
Right.
So I'm saying it's going to become obsolete.
Yes.
So it's like beat them or join them. And so many people, I'm wondering if I find that a lot of people, their hands are forced. They come to me, a lot of people are like, I don't have a choice.
Right.
My accountant died. I can't even tell you how many times this year clients have come to us because my accountant died. Everything, he had it. I didn't have access to anything. He had everything on paper. We can't get into his house. And I'm like, this is why, like, I'm first of all sorry about your accountant. I'm bummed. Second of all, now let's fix all this. Thankfully, the internet will let me, help you get moving. And then they just come in and they're completely panicked, but they were not prepared. They're forced into it. And then it's like pulling teeth, like for the longest time to get them to be like, no, this is what we're doing and you need to trust me. So the last person I trust died. I'm like, the beauty is here, I've given you access. And if I die, which we always run our company as if you got hit by a bus, it's morbid, but it is what it is. Somebody else can log in and see this is where Sharrin was, I can take over. Everything is there. But having to sell them that and getting them to believe it when, something traumatic like that just happened is a whole other story.
Go ahead.
Well, I was saying, so to answer your question, is like, are they being forced to, or are they choosing? It's both, of course, but it's which one do you want to be? And this comes to your choice decision is, you don't have to be bleeding edge and pick the latest technology, but you don't want to be shoved from behind into something and forced into a choice. And for you gamers out there, you don't want the cloud closing on you. Yeah, I'm gonna nerd this up a bit.
Okay, I don't know if we'll get any
Yes,
listeners.
they don't understand that.
We're not getting any listeners.
That's okay. You younger ones, we got you, But would you rather be forced into an action or at least have some sort of control or choice? And that's really it, is you get to choose where you are on that spectrum, but a lot of people are forced into it. They're forced to make changes. Whether you're a medical practitioner and they change the entire medical database system and you've got to change it, which is horrific if you think about everything that they have to do for compliance, or a CPA changing up their tax software. If your tax software is handwritten, you're kind of forced to now. They don't want those anymore. And that's really, we're a little bit of both, but I encourage you, make a choice.
Honestly, paper scares the crap out of me. When somebody comes to me and said, hey, I have a box of receipts, I start laughing at them. I'm like, is your bank not online? You keep your receipts for an audit. I don't care about those. I'm gonna go online, I'm gonna look at your statement, I'm gonna see the data the bank's coming in, but I'm not getting paper cuts. I'm not touching your paper.
Well, I think too, as we're talking like,
gross.
even as practitioners and thinking about succession planning, thinking about selling your practice, whatever it may be, think about your customer and your client. Do they want you printing paper copies and then they end up put them in their house, they don't even know where they are? So think about, as you're, we're talking about a really high level, but if you think about just even a simple move for you to move, and we're not talking about necessarily moving to advisory at this point, but in order to move to advisory, you got to get that other administrative garbage out of your way. You've got to get things online. You've got to be getting things where the client doesn't have to call you to get a copy of something. Like that's, and there are people, I know there's plenty of people that are still doing that, and it's like, my file cabinet I don't even have one anymore, but I used to hold t-shirts and loot and stuff like that, but now I don't even have one of those. And so
mine has like notepads from all of these.
All these
notepads.
If any of you need notepads, send us a message. I don't know, are they emailing us? Are they going on social media and saying,
everywhere?
Go on social media and say, hey, we need some loot.
Show
we
them
need
my right door.
Yeah, because listen,
conference swag. We get some conference.
We're gonna more to come on that. But I love a good notebook, not because that's my permanent way of recording things, but it's my ability to jot down and brainstorm.
Yeah, it helps you. I know we just
we just went sideways.
If I'm like on a call or something, I write it down because for some reason writing it down makes it stick and I can look over. I use a Rocket Book. Shout out to them a little bit later, but I love it because you can take a picture of everything you wrote and it transcribes it and uploads it, and then I can erase it anyhow. But I could talk about Rocket Book all episode, but I want them to pay me for that. I'll get
well, there you go.
But what I was gonna say is another thing along with technology and blah blah blah. Most people don't want to meet with people anymore. Most people do not want to sit next to people. They're like, why? You get a large, I feel like the younger generation is like, I have to meet you in person. Can we not Zoom? Can we not FaceTime? I find when I would say Gen X and below, which I am an X still. I think you're still an X. Are you borderline?
I'm too old to remember.
I'm not.
Okay, so I'm staying with a couple of boomers, but as an X, and the X is the coolest, we all know this, X and below, we don't want to put on pants and go anywhere, ever. We want to Zoom it, but I found, so those people will always hop on Zoom. They don't care. They don't care what they look like. Their hair is on top of their head. They got a big booger hanging out. It doesn't matter to them. They don't even care anymore. That's what COVID did to us all. It took away all of our personal hygiene and fashion sense. I mean, anyhow. But my older clients won't get on Zoom. They give me a phone number to call them. I'm like, I have to call you? This is so weird. But that's the thing is people don't meet in person anymore.
And this, I think, if we were to pull it all back together.
I was going to do the same thing. Yes.
Sorry.
No.
Because that actually changed my practice. So yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. And so that journey to advisory, the journey to different things, the journey through situations that we're going through, it's all, first of all, how you deal with it and the decisions you make because of those circumstances and things like that, and what's happening around you. Like, I don't know, open your eyes and think about it. But anyway, you wrap it up. This is your show.
Well, so obviously the industry is in flux, right? There's a lot of things changing. We talk about technology. We talk about interacting with clients. We talked about the changes in staffing. There are so many choices you have in front of you, and it can be overwhelming. I mean, we all sit in that space, and there's moments there's just too much. Make choices, though, because if you just sit there and wait, and like, well, it'll be fine. Oh, this is the way it's always been. You're going to be forced from behind to change your technology or to not have your employees, or your clients are going to want something different. But whether you want to implement better tech stacks, whether you want to implement advisory services, whether you want to use Zoom or not, or meet face-to-face, you get to choose these things. And that's the thing that gets lost, because the same as last year, we have an acronym, it's SALLY. That's that culture of accounting.
What is SALLY?
Same as last year.
Same as last year. I was going to say
Sally with one L.
You guys know that we talk about this. I always feel, I know we're just talking and we're giving information, but I always like if people, we can actually give them, somebody says, well, tell me how. Yep. So what is us telling them? What do they do? How do they start? I am a brick and mortar, let's say, firm. I have file cabinets. I have clients coming into my office. My employees come in and clock in every day. What is my step one? How would you do step one? What is step one?
Okay, well that was an unintentional shameless plug. I have an entire program that talks about exactly that, the Chief Proactive Advisor Program. I know you said I didn't set that up. You set that up.
I think she was actually.
Maybe I was.
Specifically,
just one step.
I'm going with step one.
Okay.
So step one, identify what your passions are. It sounds really cheesy. We're bad at this as accountants. We're good at spreadsheets. We're good at analytics. We're good at KPIs. We're good at these steps. Your step one is step back and figure out what you enjoy. Just what you enjoy. You're not talking about accounting. What do you enjoy?
And you, not your team, not your clients, because I feel like we really put other people in front of us.
Always.
But when you're sitting in your office, you're like, God, I'm in my happy place when I do this. And other times you're like, well,
and it doesn't have, the thing is, it doesn't have to be I enjoy reconciliations or I enjoy fraud. It could be I enjoy Disney World, I really like puppies.
Oh my God. I mean puppies.
But anything. And if you start with what you enjoy, you begin to create the foundation for figuring out, what am I going to do in these next steps? Because if you just go, well, I'm good at reconciliations, it doesn't mean you like it. That's where you start. Start with figuring out what you want out of everything.
What sparks joy?
What sparks joy? And then you just take that within the industry, you start to figure out, how am I going to pursue this? How am I going to pursue these things? Because if I'm going to keep doing this, because I just told you, we have staffing problems, we have technology changes, it's not getting easier.
No.
So it's not going to get easier, you might as well freaking do something you like. Okay. And so if you have the one, that's where I start, and I always start there. And if I lose sight of things and I feel if I'm off kilter, I take a day and I go, what is it I'm supposed to be? And back to, why did I choose the FBI, my kids against the FBI? I realized my greater purpose was being a husband and dad than chasing bad guys, and it recenters. And so if you have anything else you take out of it, it's a crazy industry that we're in. Start with you.
So so Don, so step one's been established. You've decided what you want to do, what your goal is, what makes you happy, where you're taking your firm. Then what? You're still brick and mortar.
Well, I'll tell you what it does for me. What it did for me when I decided, I really defined what I wanted to do in accounting. Once I defined that, it was easy to say no.
Yeah.
Started saying no.
I was able to say,
Doesn't fit the
Dawn, you are not good at international tax. Well, you're not good at it because you don't know anything about it. And so when someone would call me and they'd be like, this is like has happened. Oh, hey, we got a client for you. You know, they have a business in London, but they're going to be opening another franchise here in the United States, and they want you to be their accountant. And I go, no. I look at my thing and I go, no, because sounds like a great 30, 40, 50, 100, $200,000 job that I'm going to be crying at night and stabbing myself to death because I don't know what I'm doing. And that sounds ridiculous, but for my journey, I started out doing anything.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I was willing to learn. And when I made mistakes, no one paid me for it. I'd take my laptop and be like, somebody stumped you again or you made a mistake. I'm like, yup. And I'm here trying to figure it out overnight.
Yeah.
And so my point is that by establishing that passion, it'll be easy for you to, which we're going to do an episode on finding your niche. It'll help you be able to say no to things that are dragging you down and that are distracting you from your mission of whatever it is that you're passionate about within this industry.
Absolutely.
Or within your entrepreneurship, whatever business, brick and mortar, retail,
Yeah.
whatever it may be.
Okay, cool.
So what's your number one?
Who? Oh, I was going 1, 2, 3. Like I feel like we all kind of agree.
Yeah.
Like find out what it is you want to do. Start effing doing it. Say no. Start doing it. Number 3 for me to start making that. So I know what I want to do. I'm happy about it. I'm excited. I'm telling people no. I'm not taking on the crap anymore. So I'm phasing out my crap. Right. I'm getting it to where I want to be. My 3rd thing is actually starting to make the transition. And when I start to make a transition into anything, I handle my low hanging fruit.
Mm-hmm.
What is the easiest thing I can? Here, I make a list. What is the easiest thing I can knock off the list? Either the easiest thing would be the thing that excites me the most, the thing that I'm like, oh, this will take 2 minutes, or because we all make a list and there's 2 or 3 things we keep pushing to the end. So I knock out the easy ones first. Once you get that motivation and you get moving, for example, I'm going to go into automation. When we started automating, the very first easiest thing to automate was accounts payable. Why? The OCR is there, the software is there, everything's there. You just start, here's the process, you start sending it in, this is automated, here's a new process, done, super easy. Well, now this is so easy and amazing, we've saved so much time, what's the next thing I can do? So list and low hanging fruit would be 3, and then from there, I call it my, like, what do I do next, or how do I decide what I'm gonna use? I say in the business world or the accounting world, I call it the phone a friend method. As accountants, we don't, when we want something and we need to make a decision, we don't go online and Google what is the best whatever. Instead, we call up our friends that have successful firms, people that we trust, people that we know work in things, and we say, what do you recommend, what do you use? And we get 1 to 2 of those, and then we figure that out.
It's easier that way. Trust me.
100%. Relying on each other.
Yeah.
So in order to, I guess we probably should wrap up.
Yeah,
because
definitely
we could
wrap
go
up.
forever. Don't worry, there's more episodes. Conceptually, we're in a wildly changing industry.
Yes.
You have to make choices. You cannot just sit on the boat and ride because we don't know where that'll throw you. Steer it. Make a choice. Decide where you want to go. If you have questions or want us to drill down deeper into any of these topics, please let us know.
Yeah.
Because this is, again, we're kind of roundtabling this a bit. But we do monitor what's going on in our industry, and we want to share that with you, what we hear. We are at a lot of conferences and a lot of trainings, and we want to share that with you. So thank you guys for listening to BFD Advisors. You got a few firsts on this one, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one.
I'm gonna finger gun every episode.